This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa, Internet world, West Alabama. How we doing today on this Tuesday? Good morning. Hope you guys are all having a great day. Welcome into the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. We're live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios for another day. You guys are watching us on the Bama Central YouTube channel, on the Bama Central Facebook page. You guys are checking us out on my own social media machines, and you're on the podcast platforms at Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon, the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We appreciate everybody who subscribed, rated, reviewed the show on their favorite podcast platform. We're going to have a little bit of fun today, a lot of fun today in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. We got our friend Mason Woods back in action from the weekend, so we're going to hang out with Mason. We're going to readdress some of the topics that we talked about yesterday. I don't feel like I did a great job with the trap game stuff at the very, very end of the program. Mason, we spent the last 20 minutes of the show yesterday on trap games. We talked about, let me pop Mason right back in here. We talked about Sharon Moore suspension. We talked about Tyler Booker and Jalen Milroe, who's going to have a better second contract. We talked about trap games, all kinds of stuff on yesterday's program. If you want to go back and check that out with Theo Fernandez. But we're here with Mason Woods. I want to readdress some of the trap game comments. I have a great voicemail from our friend Dax. You can call on the voicemail machine at 205-462-7340, extension 800. If you want to be like our friend Dax, we'll use that. That'll probably be the second portion. I'll readdress trap games. We'll go into Dax's voicemail. Dax talked about a lot of stuff, and so we'll hear from him. And then we got a comment on the YouTube channel. You guys can obviously jump in on the Bama Central YouTube channel comments. We're really going to be driven by you guys today because y'all gave me plenty of fodder and plenty of stuff to talk about. And I really, really, really appreciate that. I cannot stress that enough. So with that, let's have a fun day right here in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. Call Derek and his team, 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. He's got Red Reese and Victoria upstairs right now. They would love to take your phone call, talk about insurance, talk about life, make you feel real good about having a local agent. Call Derek and his team today, 205-758-3391. Mason Woods, good morning, sir. Follow Mason Woods at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine. How's your weekend? Great to see you again.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. You know, didn't do a whole lot. Watched a little bit of basketball, which is rare for me. This is about the time of year I finally start to tune into the NBA. So there was some good basketball this weekend. I got to watch that. It's still amazing that Steph Curry is doing what he is doing at this age. So good on him. Also, Anthony Edwards is the new face of the NBA apparently. So good times all around. But no, I had a good weekend. A few happenings on the recruiting trail, not necessarily in Alabama's favor. They did happen to miss out on a recruit on Sunday.
Boo.
Yeah, Caden Dixon Wyatt ended up committing to Ohio State. It was so.
Boo.
Yeah, miss out on the 4-star wide out there.
We'll see him in the transfer portal next spring.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
We'll get him in Tuscaloosa via the portal.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
Because big news on the recruiting trail.
Yes. Also this weekend, you get an update from one Mr. Booby Feaster, the best name in the entire 2026 class and potentially every class moving forward. Like, it doesn't really get better than that. 4-star wideout, one of the best wideouts in the class at this point, probably. And names his top 4. It was Bama, USC, Texas, and I want to say Oregon was the last one.
I think you're right. I believe you're right. The reason I thought it was big. Go ahead.
Going to be making his announcement. I think it's July 4th.
That wasn't the big news that I was referring to. Not really directly Alabama related, but related to Alabama because of the decision. Jared Curtis yesterday.
Yes.
Jared Curtis out of Nashville decides he's going to be a Georgia Bulldog.
Yeah, I really thought it was going to be Oregon.
I wish it were. I think he's that type. I think he's I think he is a real one, a real one. And I've got my Georgia buddies who are. One of them was doing backflips, rightfully so. The other one was doing, who cares? It's recruiting. They're going to transfer out. And I said, brother, I think this is going to be one of the guys that Kirby Smart says, "You're not transferring out. What's the number? What's the issue? You're not transferring out." I told him I think that if I'm Kirby Smart, I'm clearing out that quarterback room, and he's starting in 2026.
He seems to be pretty good.
Oh.
I'm still not sold on just Tennessee
No.
high school football.
Okay, all right.
You know, if this guy was doing what he did in Florida or Texas or California, I'd probably feel a little better about it. I'm not necessarily in the camp of like, you know, we need to panic over here. Georgia got him one. Like, I do think he's a good player, but I don't think so enamored with him as you are.
Well, when you're I don't want to paint it as a bad thing for Alabama. I think the staff said, we've got our little Keelan Russell right here, and we'll just see on the next cycle.
Yeah.
We'll see on the next cycle. You want to go to Georgia, Oregon for big money? All right, buddy. We don't really have a whole you come here, you're sitting in a log jam, and we can't pay for a log jam, basically.
I mean, yeah, I think that's exactly why Alabama was not, they bowed out of this race pretty early. There was some interest there. I think they went to visit him maybe early in the calendar year, sometime in January, maybe even like late 2024, they were out visiting. But yeah, it was pretty obvious that Georgia and Oregon were the front runners and have been for, a better part of probably a month and a half, 2 months now. And I mean, even up until the day of his commitment, I was seeing, different guys that cover recruiting saying, "Oh, I'm predicting Oregon. Oh, I'm predicting Oregon." So it really seemed like it came down to the wire, and we'll see what he does with Georgia.
All right, Mason Woods. Yesterday on the program, we went into the message boards and we're inspired by.
I mean, how could you not be?
Right.
The message boards is everything.
We were inspired by this take. The Florida State game is a trap game.
That's
how it started. And the original take, the original take and the offshoot. The take was the first game of the year cannot be a trap game by definition. And the offshoot was, I don't think there's a trap game on this schedule.
Sure.
Now I want to go back because I think that I think after 30 hours of thinking about it, 20-something hours of thinking about it, I think I'm pretty the week of my birthday. That's going to be a problem for Alabama. That's going not that any of these teams are. You've got 12 good teams. You could probably lose to 6 of them, 5 of them, realistically, 7 of them, realistically, on the wrong day, right?
Sure.
You're not losing to Eastern Illinois even on the wrong day. Sorry, guys. Like, thanks for coming down here, Panthers, but you're not winning that game, even if K. Cruz is playing quarterback. But Florida State, Wisconsin, Vanderbilt, Georgia, Missouri, Tennessee, like there are teams that can beat you if you're not ready. I think that part of yesterday's conversation, I might have sort of insinuated that Alabama's schedule was not difficult. That's not really what I was trying to insinuate. I was trying to insinuate that all these games are at least hitting you head on, hitting you right in the face. You're ready at Florida State. Like, the war chant's being played in Malmore. They're getting ready. It's the season opener. And it doesn't matter who the season opener is. It's the season opener. You're going to get ready for it. And I think that all these games meet you head on, except for really at Missouri. At Missouri is my there's your trap game. That is the option. Saturday, October 11th, Theo threw out the week after the Georgia game, right before we were starting. What about the week after Georgia game? I said, it would be, but you're playing Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt, given last year, is just not going to be a trap game. You're going to be getting up for it. You're going to get up for Wisconsin because a big non-conference game. You got a week off. You're going to Georgia. You're going to get up for it. You're going to Tennessee's coming in 2 weeks after Vanderbilt. We take care of Vanderbilt. You take care of Vanderbilt. You end up getting them 38-10. And okay, everybody feels good about themselves again. And then it's like, well, we'll get it past Missouri. But Tennessee's coming. Tennessee's back in Tuscaloosa in 2 weeks. I don't know that Missouri has the talent to beat Alabama, but I would have said the same thing last year about Vanderbilt. You said, I don't know if Vanderbilt has the talent to beat Alabama. When they did, I think that Missouri game is the only real option. I saw a lot of people going at South Carolina on the comment section, and I saw a lot of people going with Oklahoma the week after the LSU game, before Eastern Illinois, and before the trip to Jordan-Hare. So with that being said, I think I just reiterated some of my points, hopefully made them a little clearer, that I don't think the schedule's easy. I just think that all these games meet you head on, that all these games that you can tell quarterback X, whoever's starting, hey, buddy, this defense is going to be ready for you, and he's going to believe you. I think just every single one of them, except for I think this at Missouri game could sneak up on you.
I'm with you on the at Missouri, and then I'm also looking at South Carolina. And that might be South Carolina, them being ranked. Preseason is one of better teams in the SEC. Probably will be one of the better teams in the SEC throughout this season. I could very well see that not becoming an issue where it's like, all right, we know how good South Carolina is. We got to prepare for them. They're a top 10 team right now, whatever it is. That being said, you did mention how big that Tennessee game is. You are trying to avenge your loss from this season. It's going to be a very emotional contest. You're going to lay a lot out there. I could see a bit of maybe a hangover from that Tennessee game in the, having to go up to William Rice Stadium, and having to deal with all of that. I could see maybe a little bit of a slip up there.
He said, I hate EDM. Oh, I was like, my man, I'm with you.
That's a spot I could maybe see a slip up.
I think that's a good pick, because I can let's click on a South Carolina schedule, because I think I can see this scenario happening. I can see this so clearly, because they are preseason 10. Here's what I'm looking at. I guess I don't know whose rankings these are.
You looking at FBS schedules?
Yes,
I love this website.
Yes, because it's just so
give you the little helmets and everything.
So clean. Like, to me,
I don't want to have to scroll super far to see the schedule. It gives me it all on one page.
Visually appealing, super clean. I can see the bye weeks. That's the other part. A lot of the ESPNs and the Roll Tides, they won't give you the bye weeks. All right, so South Carolina. Here's the scenario that I can see playing out to where, yes, you're right, it is a trap game. You beat Virginia Tech in Atlanta. Okay, you beat South Carolina State. You're 2-0. You beat Vanderbilt. You're 3-0. Let's say you drop to Missouri. At Missouri in week 4, so you're 3-1. You probably bounce back against Kentucky. You're 4-1. You're off. You go to Death Valley and lose. You're 4-2. You welcome Oklahoma. Oklahoma gets the upset. You're 4-3. You're not ranked, and now you host Alabama.
With your any potential postseason hopes on the line here. Alabama hasn't even thought about you.
I don't want
2 games straight.
I don't want that. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it at all,
man. That feels like a nightmare scenario.
Our season's on the line. Shane Beamer. I'm gonna kick whatever. Kick a whiteboard. Break my foot.
Yeah, break his arm before the game or something. Oh man. South Carolina worries me a bit,
because if they're performing at this number 10 preseason level, I'm not as concerned. I don't know what this is. I'm gonna look this up. This is not right.
Maybe that's an SEC now, because they'd be better than 10th. If they are performing at a top 10 level, though, at this point in time of the season, I'm not concerned about it being a trap game. I think Alabama gets up for a game against a top 10 opponent. I think it's pretty easy to understand the gravity of that game.
All right, so we'll use 24/7 Sports, because they put out an actual post-spring rankings. They have South Carolina 17.
Okay,
I think that's fair. I don't know where
appropriate than 10.
I don't know where this 10 comes from. They've got Tennessee 19. It's not end of the year rankings, because LSU is terrible. Yeah. LSU 8 is what they have here. All right, great. But they have Georgia 5. Point being, if they're performing well, you're gonna know, hey, Sandstorm, you got to get ready. We're going over there. It's going to be hot. It's going to be nasty. Yeah. Probably won't be as hot in October, but
that's a game you can get ready for. It's a lot easier to get ready for it when they got a big number there in front of their name. That Gamecocks logo does not necessarily carry a ton of weight with it if you see it without a number in front of it, but getting that anywhere from like 10 to 20 there. I think Alabama gets up for that game without really many issues.
Yeah, a lot easier to overlook them if it's, well, in Norris, they went down to LSU and threw 3 interceptions, and then,
5 picks in 2 games.
Yeah, Oklahoma, whatever, Brent Venables, his plan, he's going to have a decent plan for them. And then Alabama comes in and
Oh, Lenore's going to run for 250 yards.
Yeah. Nick Harper right past everybody.
Oh man. We got to stop with these. We got to stop making our preseason storylines here because they're going to come true. And that's a nightmare right there.
Well, they're going to come true.
We're going to speak it into existence.
We're decent at. Well, I mean, we're not perfect, but we're decent at this. I can say, look. How many times have we seen South Carolina start so slow under Shane Beamer, and then start getting signature win after signature win, and it's like, dang, they're going to be good next year if they can just carry this momentum through the offseason. And it hasn't really happened yet. It could happen this year, absolutely. I'm opening that door, but
this feels like the best opportunity for it.
Yeah, but I think I'm much more open to them starting slow, and then we upset number 3 Alabama at home. College football playoff talk. See, anybody can lose to LSU, and we got upset at home by Oklahoma, but we should be in the playoff. You're going to get that from South Carolina if this scenario plays out. Yikes.
So that Tennessee game is very interesting because
but like by definition, rivalry games are not
not a trap game, but just as far as just where it is there.
Yes.
Because looking at Missouri or South Carolina, either way, and like Tennessee is weird because
that's 5 weeks
I hadn't even really thought about it. Like, they don't have Nico. I don't think Tennessee's going to be not that great this year, probably. I don't know where they're going to be at that point of the season.
Theo was trying to sell us on some Joey Aguilar yesterday, and I was like,
"You can keep selling me because
you ain't buying."
Yeah, not until I.
The price is going to have to be $1, Theo, for me to buy.
So I don't, if Tennessee's terrible at that point in the season, is this even a game? I mean, yes, Alabama gets up for it. But is it going to be the same kind of like emotionally taxing, physically tolling thing that, we're maybe thinking it's going to be that will potentially take you into a trap game? I don't know. So that also plays into, if Alabama just shows up at home that Saturday and stomps the life out of Tennessee, I think I feel a lot better about that South Carolina game. And if it's an emotional, gut it out, we need a late game drive from whoever it may be.
I tell
probably
you what,
key line at that point in the season.
Just looking at this at Tennessee, our lads, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of this team. This offense is cheeks. I'm sorry. This offense is cheeks. If this is right, you remember Miles Kitselman is listed as their starting tight end.
7th year. What is he? Golly.
Obviously no Dylan Sampson.
Yeah. No Brew McCoy.
No, you got Chris Brassel. You remember him? He transferred last year. He did okay. Lance Hurd transferred from LSU to Tennessee. David Sanders, they paid him $1.50 as a freshman right tackle. I don't like what Nico did and their family, and I don't think that that's the way to go. And I think that's probably a bad move for college football.
Maybe he jumped off his thinking ship.
Yes. Hey, I'm prepared to be cold takes exposed on this. We're going to do our deep dive on Texas tomorrow. That's going to be our starting point. We're going to talk about all the SEC teams at length. But when we get to this Tennessee team, this offense so far does not look scary. Just in 2 seconds. All right, Mason Woods. What else you got for us on schedule? On this schedule before we turn into the voicemail machine, I think we're gonna have a long time to talk about the schedules.
Yeah.
Let's see what the roll time machine says. Will Miller countdown to kickoff today is 116 days. 116 days until Alabama kicks off against Florida State. I'm excited about it. I think that 5 weeks is hell.
Yeah.
That 5 weeks is really.
It's not like I'm not looking at this schedule and thinking, oh my gosh, this is the hardest schedule in America. But it's certainly not easy by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. It doesn't as far as challenges.
A lot of winnable games.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Mostly winnable games. But
yeah, I think just if you viewed them in a vacuum by themselves, not on a schedule, at Georgia. We just talked about Tennessee. I feel good about what we said. At South Carolina, at Auburn, at Florida State. To me, if I'm looking at this in a vacuum, all 4 of those road games are losable.
Yeah.
But then
I think they're. I mean, yeah, I can look at them as toss-ups right now.
The problem is when you view them back to back to back to back. Like the first three, that's normal. That's not anything on you. At Florida State, ULM at home, and Wisconsin at home. Great.
They should start this season 3-0.
You're rocking and rolling. You have had some hiccups in Tallahassee. You worked through them. You came home. You beat the brakes off of ULM, and then you got things really rolling. Right, right. And then you get the bye week, and you got 2 weeks of hype train. Hype train is choo choo left the station. We are in Athens, and it is
game day.
Yes, it is 2 verse 4. It's 1 verse 3. It's 1 verse 5. It's 3 verse 6. Whatever it is, pick your top 10, your 2 favorite numbers inside the top 10, and that's what it will be. And then, like, you're gonna be beat to hell, but you're at least back home. You're at least back home in front of the fans. And the fans will be like,
they will remind you.
Yes, it won't be the typical Vanderbilt crowd of, you know, I once got into a Vanderbilt game for $5 as buying tickets. You know, me and my ex-wife were on the quad and we wanted to get in. $10. We're in the stadium. Great. It won't be that cheap.
Screaming. Kill him.
Yeah, it won't be that cheap, like for $5, but it won't be that expensive. But the feeling will be just. Remind these jokers, please. Remind them.
Put them back in their place.
And so they'll be driven by the fans in that scenario. I think by the time you're in October 11th at Missouri, your gas tank is starting to get a little. Now we're going to look at Missouri too, but I feel like you've lost a lot. Lou Burton and Brady Cook off the top of my head.
Yeah, Theo Weiss gone.
Right. So like, but still. SEC, same thing I would have said last year. Oh, you're going to Nashville the week after Georgia. You'll be fine. It'll be okay. That's my spot right there. And then you come home, Tennessee. You got the fans behind you again, even if they're good. I mean, 2 years ago, golly, and Brian, when Tennessee was good, that place was on fire and it was awesome. And then you just drug yourself through it. Oh man, that 5 weeks is really challenging. So we'll see. And then really the back 4 weeks is not easy either. LSU, Oklahoma, you get the cupcake, and then at Auburn. I saw somebody go, Mason Woods. They go, we're going to be 9-2, going to Auburn for a chance to make the college football playoff, aren't we? That's what they said.
Talk about a nightmare.
Hugh Freeze is 6-5, right? let's see what Auburn.
And this is not with a loss to 2 top 10. This is a loss to Georgia and a loss to Missouri. This is not like this is one good loss and one, oh my God, what were you doing? Loss. So you really it is absolutely on the line in this game. You have no no argument out otherwise.
All right, count these wins real quick, and I'll count the losses real quick as I throw these out to you. At Baylor, win. Ball State, win. South Alabama, win. At Oklahoma, loss. At Texas A&M, loss. Georgia, loss. Missouri at home, win. At Arkansas, win. Kentucky, win. Yep. At Vanderbilt, give me a loss. Off, and then Mercer a win. What do we have? That's 4. That's 7-4. So they're 7-4 entering that Iron Bowl, trying to, just play spoiler.
I mean, that is not only for Alabama's playoff spot, that is for Hugh Freeze's job. Probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
That's there's a few nightmare scenarios that we've uncovered in the first couple of minutes of today's show.
Man, that's
which one would you? I guess the Auburn scenario was with the least, the one we want least.
Yes, yeah. Give me that South Carolina one all day over that.
Yeah,
because I can stomach a lot. It's going to hurt a loss South Carolina, but I don't have to deal with South Carolina fans. They're not in my circles at all. I don't know any. So give me that one all day.
Ooh, a few nightmare scenarios right there. We'll keep looking at the schedule. We're going to have a lot of fun the rest of the summer with you guys on the comment section, on the voicemail section, 205-462-7340, extension 800. Mason, I think that's my next move. I want to bring Dax into the program. Dax called. I believe the premise is former Nick Saban players who should have done more in the NFL. Now, I don't know for sure. That's why we're going to go to the voicemail line and find out. Once again, 205-462-7340, extension 800. Let's play our Warren Tire ad, and we'll go right into the voicemail.
So my name is Russ Warren, and I'm one of the owners here at Warren Tire. We started in 1961. My granddad on University Boulevard, so we've been kind of a staple here in the Tuscaloosa and the University of Alabama community since then. And so thankful to be in the third generation. And we have 2 locations now in Tuscaloosa. We're right here at the 15th Street location right now, where we just do tires, brakes, and alignments mostly here. Our university location does oil changes, engine work, air conditioning work, front end work, the whole 9 yards. And so any of our 2 locations, you can come check us out.
It's Warren Tire and Auto, and we're so proud and thankful that they're sponsoring the program. Let's head out to the voicemail line and hear what Dax has to say.
Is up, guys? It is Dax. Whoo! Dead period hitting real hard right now. So I came up with a list of my top 5 Saban era players that really should have done more in the NFL, but just didn't pan out. Now, this is probably the most subjective list that anyone could ever come up with. There are so many different players that could go in these. I'd say I got the 5 spot. No, there is a number 1 consensus pick at number 1. I hope, at least I think so. We'll get to that when I get there. So starting off the list at number 5, we have Mr. Rocky Block himself, Terrence Cody. Oh my Lord, he had 9-year-old Dax just jumping for joy. I was on the verge of tears in that Tennessee game because I thought it was over. I thought they were going to make that field goal, and Mount Cody picked up every 9-year-old Alabama fan and wiped the tears off their face and said, "Here you go." Oh, man, that block was beautiful. It was one of the best memories I've ever had, honestly. It's one of the best memories of my childhood, screaming in front of that TV, dude. It was so nice. He only played 2 seasons at Bama. He had 51 total tackles in those 2 seasons. So he really didn't jump off the stat sheet, but he was the defensive line. He was just a big old plug. Like, nobody was running on the inside with Mount Cody sitting there. That's my number 5 pick. That will have been.
All right, number five, Terrence Cody. We'll keep him going. We'll bounce back into Dax's call in just a minute. But Terrence Cody as Dax's number 5 player that should have done more in the NFL. Terrence Cody got basically drafted in the 3rd round, 2010, 57th overall pick by the Baltimore Ravens. 4 years with the Ravens and out. Obviously, maybe you're not familiar with a couple of legal issues off the field with some animal issues. A little uncomfortable. But okay, here's his stats right there. He played 57 games in the league, in the NFL. 57 games in the league, no sacks. He had 87 to combined tackles. I guess knocked down 3 or 4 passes defended. But I think that good place to start the list. Good place to start the list because while I think Dax is exactly right as far as the memory. That was my year home, basically, and I was basically suspended my year home. And my parents were, "What are you?" Now I lost my mind when he blocked that kick.
Oh, I couldn't believe
it. Yep, I was basically thinking, "Yeah, we lost. It's over." But Terrence Cody's NFL career was.
I think he just was a player that struggled to maintain his weight at a consistent range. He in his last season at Alabama, I know he had shed some weight and then kind of gained a lot of it back in the offseason, heading into the combine and things like that, showed up overweight. I think teams were wary of him because of things like that. And then that issue was unfortunately kind of prevalent in the NFL as well. And then you mentioned also, some legal things here and there that did not also help. So, a solid player. Maybe he was a little ahead of his time. We got Tavondre Sweat now and guys like the guy from Florida who weighed in at 400 some odd pounds at the combine this year. So maybe he just needed to wait a while.
I think you're exactly right. You have somebody that has a little weight issues and then you put a lot of money in their pocket. little different. I mean, me too.
Yeah, I'd be right there with you, buddy.
Me too.
I'd put on that rookie 45.
I don't know if Eddie Lacy's in this call. It probably should be, but it just makes me think of China food. I like China food. Wasn't that his tweet?
Yes.
I love China food.
Eddie
food.
Lacy, it always Eddie always like breaks my heart thinking about Eddie Lacy, and I know that he's a Packers. You hate him, but
Hey,
I just it almost brings me to tears. The poor guy, to hear him talk about it now and like all of the like, I don't know, they're just really human. You know, these athletes are regular people too. Like the man dealt with hundreds of people every day, just tweeting at how fat he was, and it's like that sucks, dude. He's just trying to play football.
I just want to eat, man.
Number 4,
Number 4.
Mr. Kevin Norwood.
Oh,
Now,
good
he
pick.
also did not jump off the stat sheet. He only had 1,275 total yards through his 3 seasons that he played. In his senior season, he only had 568 yards and 7 touchdowns. But I don't know if it was a 9-year-old bias for me, but this man would catch literally every ball that was thrown towards him. Everybody, go look up a Kevin Norwood highlight tape. It'll make your day. He was so nice. NFL, he only had 9 receptions for 11 yards. He went to the Seahawks and he got traded to the Panthers. So, man, I'm just disappointed that Norwood didn't pan out like I thought he would have. All right,
I think he's right. I think Kevin Norwood is a good pick. Kevin Norwood probably never going to be a superstar. Ends up with the Seahawks, ends up with the Panthers, ends up with the Chargers, ends up with the Giants. Really, as Dax alluded to, didn't really end up doing a whole lot in the NFL. But Kevin Norwood, wasn't he a hero of the LSU game? One of those LSU games?
I had the picture of him mossing Tyrann Mathieu as the background of my flip phone at that time, and it stayed there for a long time. It was hell yeah, because I think I was watching it at either my grandparents' house. It was somebody's house that had you could rewind,
Okay.
and everything. I remember like pausing it and going up and taking it. Like it was the grainiest, most horrible photo. But I said it, and it sure enough,
But
it
you
was
knew,
awesome.
you knew what it was.
It was great.
Every time you flipped open your phone.
Yeah.
I think Kevin Norwood's a good pick. I'm with Dax. I think just, it's really hard.
Didn't pan out.
It's really hard to make the NFL. It's really hard to do well in the league. Let's keep going in here. Number 3. Where's my button? Right there.
Crazy Tony. Oh, man. I shouldn't even have to say much about his career at Alabama. That dude was a straight dog. He only had 2 interceptions, but holy crap, we remember those interceptions all day. That man was straight up taking the ball. Oh, he was a dog. You knew whenever you got hit by Tony Brown. He's still in the league. I don't think he's starting. He's on the Browns. He's really not making much movement. But I mean, yeah, maybe we'll see Tony Brown, old Tony Brown, come back and do some crazy things. We can only wish. Number 2.
Tony Brown, number 2 for Dax as a former save. That is a good one. But I don't know if he qualifies here, Dax. I love you and thank you for the call. But he's been in the league since 18 and he's still cashing checks. Now Dax is right. He's not done much. He's not been a superstar corner or defensive back.
I do think he's done about what a lot of people expected him to do. I don't think anybody expected him to be like a world beater at cornerback in the NFL. He was not really that at Alabama. He was solid, but at least anybody really cornerback. So
they just loved his personality.
Yes, it was mostly about the personality that, like Dax said, he was a dog. And like the NFL loves dogs, but the NFL also loves players who are very skilled at their positions, and he lacks a little bit of that.
A little, but he's got enough dog and enough skill to we want you on the roster.
Stick him around. Yeah, that's what keeps him around is that combination there. However, he just doesn't have the enough to become the perennial guy that's an NFL Pro Bowl or anything like that.
Whose NFL career ends first, Tony Brown or Hunter Renfro's? Did you see that? Is this stuff with Hunter Renfro last week? Yeah, but like why he didn't play last year?
No,
his weight. So he's supposed to be on the Raiders, right? Yeah. Barely played or didn't play at all. Had some sort of like gastrointestinal issue.
I always wondered what happened.
Had a medical issue. It said he was down to like 155 pounds.
Oh,
I guess they got that solved and got signed by the Panthers.
I mean, look, there's a place in the NFL for Hunter Renfrow. Like, the guy was he was a technician or a route runner. I hate to say
even
it,
if he lied,
I hate to say it, but he was better at his position than Tony Brown is at his. Unfortunately,
I heard he lied.
He did lie.
Tony told me that one time. So
and I believe Tony.
Absolutely. Well, but yeah, is this that both of their last years in the NFL?
I don't think so.
I'm just spitballing.
Hunter Renfrow, he got signed to the
Panthers,
right? Yeah. I got a feeling that's going to work out really, really well.
Bryce's safety blanket.
I think this might extend his career by a while.
Yeah, baby Bryce got himself a little check down machine.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. Dax on the voicemail line.
Mr. Ardarius Stewart. Man had 1,713 total yards and 12 touchdowns in the 3 seasons that he played at Alabama. Whenever he caught the ball, you knew it. This man was loud. My gosh. He would also, like Kevin Norwood, this man caught about literally everything you threw at him. I remember Ardarius Stewart being a machine. I miss him so much. We need more players like Crazy Tony and Ardarius Stewart. Oh man. We went to the NFL. He only played for 1 season. It was 2017 at the Jets. He had 6 catches for 12 yards, and that's it. I can't find anything else. And then the consensus.
There we go. Number 2, Ardarius Stewart. I think it's a good pick. I don't know that you ever expected him to do a whole lot in the NFL, but as far as players you loved at Alabama that you wanted to see do something in the NFL, I think Dax is right on line.
Yeah, I didn't remember this, but he had a suspension for a PED thing in the NFL, and then shortly after was waived. And
I didn't know that.
Find his way back into the NFL, really. So bounced around in some practice squads after that, but then went over to the CFL. Yeah, I love this guy at Alabama. Like you said, a all-time sugar honey iced tea talker. Like the guy
the
was
sledgehammer or the axe. I get confused. Was it a sledgehammer or was it an axe? It was one or the other.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But it was like, I'm about to come and smash this through your face.
Yeah. Not necessarily, like you said, somebody that I thought would translate overly well to the NFL, but as a child, I was always disappointed that he didn't catch on with some team.
It was a hard few years for Bama fans and wide receivers. I'm sorry, but Ardarius Stewart, Marquise Mays, like you went in between from Julio to Amari. It took you a second to find to get caught on and start being like, hey guys, this is wide receiver. This is a good place for wide receivers. Not to say that Ardarius was bad or Marquise was bad by any means. But
it took a couple years. It took, obviously Julio changed a lot of things, but I think it took getting Amari as well. And then everybody really was like, oh, okay.
AJ McCarron, 99 yards to Amari Cooper. And it's like, oh, we can play here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. And then it just became a South Florida pipeline. Calvin Ridley, Jerry Jeudy. It was just like, oh, you're in South Florida? You play wide receiver? Come on, baby.
Yeah.
All right, number 1. He says it's a consensus. Let's see if we all agree.
One pick, in my opinion, is Mr. Trenton Richardson. This man had 3,130 total yards and 35 rushing touchdowns in the 3 seasons he played. The one season where he should have won the Heisman, he had 1,679 rushing yards and 21 rushing touchdowns. Trent Richardson was fast. He was mobile. He would run you over if he wanted to. I remember, that one Ole Miss player. Ole Miss player. That's all I got to say. Literally made him think he was running back. Like, oh, my Lord. Trent Richardson was so nice. Then he, drafted to the Browns, played 2 seasons there, and then was traded to the Colts and was out of the NFL in 2 years. Oh, man. Poor Trent Richardson. I miss him. He was one of my favorite running backs of, college football in my limited 25-year experience. Oh, man. Oh, I miss Trent. And then my honorable mentions, I've got Rolando McClain, Barrett Jones, Reuben Foster, and DeAndrew White. Those are my little honorable mentions. But that's my list. A little bit of effort into it, but let me know what y'all think.
All right, I think that Dax texted me. He's like, "Oh, I think I ran out of time, so I guess there's a little limit." But he said, "I think I got it all in." Man, great call. You did get it all in, and you nailed it because my silliness. When he goes consensus, I thought OJ Howard. And then Trent Richardson. No, that is the right answer. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah. I don't know. I was so sad to see his NFL career go the way that it did. And then obviously, we've all heard kind of after the fact now of all of the off the field things with his family and all that drama and everything that happened. Just a lot of unfortunate happenings for Trent Richardson around the time he got drafted. And then those, a few years there, it did not help going to the Browns. Obviously, I don't think that the Browns killed his career like a lot of people say.
No.
It's just one of those unfortunate. I don't know why he did not translate to the NFL. I
truly
don't know.
The feet. He was. The man played through injuries here at Alabama.
Yeah,
he should have taken time, different times off on the injured reserve, the college proverbial injury reserve. But by the time he had gotten to the league,
his wheels were worn off.
Right, exactly.
Tires were bald.
And I usually push back, and Nick Saban did get a lot better at this through the years. But people like to Nick Saban runs the life out, and Trent is the classic example.
Sure.
Nick Saban runs the life out of his players, or ran the life out of his players, or whatever. And Trent, I can't argue. There's no argument against it. I think that's valid. But I think if you watch Saban's career as a whole with the running backs, I think he got a lot better.
Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry both had very good. Derrick Henry still has a very good career. Mark Ingram had a good career.
Yeah, I just mean usage-wise. We talked about Josh Jacobs yesterday. Remember, we teased that last week and never got to it. Yeah. I did talk about it with Theo a little bit. Josh Jacobs, third-string running back, first-round pick, because usage was so from Trent Richardson at 2011, right?
Yeah, 2011,
to Josh Jacobs in 17, 18. You see a philosophy shift of, I got my one dude in Glenn Coffey. I got my one dude in Glenn Coffey and his buddy, Mark Ingram. I got then same philosophy, Mark Ingram and his buddy, Trent. It's Trent and his buddy, TJ. And then it becomes TJ, Eddie Lacy. It starts mixing in. You start getting a lot more usage through the decade. I think that that's a scenario that Nick Saban probably looks back on with. I don't want to speak for him, but just knowing his heart of generally caring for his players, I think he's like, man, I wish I would have done that maybe a little different.
Yeah, probably. I would imagine so.
All right, I feel like I had one more thing before I looked at this YouTube comment. Go ahead.
Personally, I would have to throw Rolando McClain in my top 5.
Yeah, he
did give us the honorable mention there.
Roe McClain, he hit Barrett Jones.
Reuben Foster was one.
And DeAndre White.
Yes, DeAndre White.
No OJ Howard?
No, no love for OJ Howard today, I guess.
Maybe that's just that's just OJ Howard was always the unicorn.
Yeah. Even once he got to the NFL, nobody knew what to do with him. It's kind of like what was the guy from Clemson? I think he's still in the league now, but he was a defensive back, linebacker, played like.
Oh yes.
Got drafted. I think the Cardinals drafted him, and no one knows what to do with him. Isaiah Simmons. That feels right.
That's all right. Let's see. Isaiah Simmons. Yep. Yes.
Look at there. But yeah, the guy, he is such a unicorn just no one knows what to do with him. So he's just kind of bounced around and not really been overly productive in the NFL.
Currently with the Packers.
Yeah. This weird, strange prospect that can do a lot of things really good, I guess, but doesn't really, I guess, do one thing great.
2 years with the Cardinals, 2 seasons with the Giants, and is now with the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, Rolando. McClain,
Dax says replace Tony with Rolando. I think you're right. Yeah,
man. A guy that just couldn't stay out of his own way.
Rose from your area, right? Yeah, Parts unknown.
They are now divorced, my aunt and uncle, but he coached Rolando McClain. He was a defensive coach at Gaither High School and coached him in high school. So I got to meet him a couple of times as a child because he'd come back to town and train or whatever at the high school field. Just unfortunately, just a guy that just could not stay out of his own way. It was like every time he came back to town, he got in trouble for something new, whether it was some small drug thing, a gun thing. Oh, you didn't show up to court or something. It was never anything, or at least that I can recall. Now he may have done some other things I'm just not remembering. But I don't ever remember it being anything overly like, oh my God, that's horrible. It was just a bunch of small stuff that he kept doing over and over. But again, maybe I'm misremembering because I was young.
He held a firearm to someone's head. I don't know if it was a male or female.
This I did not know.
But it was I'm threatening you.
Okay. Yeah, that's
situation.
But just could not stop getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Was extremely talented player every time you saw it on the field.
Scary.
Like he was a beast on the Raiders, and he had a little time with the Cowboys where he was still really good, even though he was continuously getting in trouble and missing practice and missing training. Like the guy just had a natural gift to play linebacker. Just couldn't stay out of his own way. Man,
have you ever heard my Rolando McClain story?
I'm not sure I have.
Oh man, so the year I worked for the football team was 2008. I'm a freshman and really don't know anything about anything. So that's the framing, but I'm working as a special teams assistant, and Rolando McClain gets suspended for, was it the Mississippi State game that we played that season? I believe he got suspended for about half of the Mississippi State game. Why? I'm in the team meeting room, and Coach Saban comes in and just reads the riot act, and I'm like, what's going on here? Oh, come to find out, Rolando's broken his hand. Rolando has broken his hand on some, I don't know if it's broken or regardless, the hand was in the cast. So I don't want to oversay. The hand was in a club, in a Patrick Willis club, right? Because in that week, you know where Malmore sits right there in the heart of campus, and there is fraternity buildings basically on the back side of it. And the story that I am told is that Rolando, he drove that green kind of 4x4 looking car. And he apparently in the parking lot right there, he gets mother bleeped by some fraternity boys who want to talk about his skin color, and he didn't take kindly to that and let them know about it with his fists. And so Saban comes in and basically gives the guys, we cannot do this, no fighting, and gives the you know, control yourself. Sure. But also is like, but I'm only suspending you a half because I get it.
Valid.
I get why you did.
And I bet people rip Saban up. Oh, no control, no discipline.
I don't think that ever really got out. Good. I don't think it ever. I think it was
he's violated team rules.
Right, suspended for a half, got back in. But it was I understand they made you mad.
Hey,
they called you bad names and bad, but you know, you're about to be a millionaire and bad names are about to get thrown at you a lot.
Yeah, you're about to play. You will have to play in Philly and Boston, New England.
Oh, so that's my, and he came in and played well. Alabama ended up winning the game.
Man,
undefeated that year.
Absolute dog on the field. Mm-hmm. Like, talk about a guy that really like threw his body around like a rag doll out there. Like, he would just go weightless when he attacked people. It was crazy. Reuben Foster was like Rolando McClain light. You know, if you saw Reuben Foster, you got to see a glimpse of what Rolando McClain was, but it was another level.
Yeah, that was a bad dude.
Golly.
And I love that story.
Scary man.
Hey, watch where you're going, kind of thing is what I was told. And you said what?
you talk.
Which
bleep,
one?
Get hit.
Which one of y'all said that? And I
you gonna run that back, buddy?
The story that I heard was him, and it was
I hit all of you.
Okay, all right, doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's just not somebody I'd ever pick a fight with. I don't know what Rolando McClain's up to these days, but still not somebody I'd want to pick a fight with.
Absolutely not. All right, so where are we at on our sheet here? We've revisited our trap game. That's what I wanted to do. Definitely wanted to take Dax's voicemail. Dax, thank you so much for calling, being a part of the show each and every day. Love you, man. Hope you're doing well. You guys can be on the voicemail at 205-462-7340, extension 800. If you got something you want to talk about, really, we're wide open to anything. I want to hit one YouTube comment before we go. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to tell you about our friends Warren Tire and Auto, and then I want to talk about this one YouTube comment and close down the show. We're live here in the Derry Daniel State Farm Studios, but we're sponsored by Warren Tire and Auto. They have been a Tuscaloosa and University of Alabama staple since 1961. They're in their third generation of family ownership. Russ Warren and his crew are running 2 locations to get you in and out and back on the road. They're your go-to place for all your automotive needs. Their locations are 15th Street and University Boulevard. For tires, brakes, and alignment, you can see them on 15th Street. Call them at 205-759-5505. For all your other automotive needs, they're on University Boulevard. Call them at 205-758-2739. That's for oil changes. That's for front-end work. That's for electrical problems, AC problems. You can see them on University Boulevard. Tires, brakes, and alignment, new cars, tire rotation, brake pads, brake work. 15th Street, just in the shadow of Bryant-Denny Stadium, 205-759-5505. Call and set up your appointment today. You can get in and out and back on the road, back to your life. We appreciate Warren Tire sponsoring the program, and you need to see them for all your automotive needs. Mason, just a real quick question. We're at 50 minutes now, so I can get a little personal. I'm on a little new medicine the last day and a half. I took it yesterday after the show. Took it about 2 minutes into the show. I'm feeling great today.
That's good stuff. A little breaking news here from our friend Ross Dellinger. This doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Alabama, but interesting on the wider world of college football.
Oh, yeah.
Notre Dame and Clemson have struck a 12-year annual football scheduling deal. The series works independently of the ACC structure, but does count as one of Notre Dame's 5 ACC games, and the Irish are also expected to play FSU and Miami more regularly.
Well,
just join the ACC, though.
No. Well done. Go pick the best teams in the ACC and play them.
Whatever.
Don't be playing Syracuse and Boston College.
Sure, but I want them to do this with the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12.
Oh, yeah.
You got to do it with everybody else too. You got to go play South Carolina. You don't have to play Alabama. You don't have to. You can play a B tier team. You can get you I
don't want to see you play Navy.
No. Yeah. I'd like to see
Georgia
Notre Dame
State.
throwing a maybe a Wisconsin. That'd be a good one.
Perfect.
Yeah, any of these kind of upper tier Power 4 teams. You don't necessarily have to go right to the top. I understand you're a little scared to do it, Notre Dame, but you can take some of these other guys.
Mason, you're triggering me. I guess
I hate Notre Dame.
I guess I'm going to table this YouTube comment. You're triggering me just a little bit.
Always will.
Here. Who was it that tweeted that Kirk Cignetti story? Kirk Cignetti says 4, or what did he say? How many teams? Yeah, perfect. I cannot spell and think at the same time. Talk and spell at the same time. Yeah. Kirk Cignetti says 6 teams. Kirk Cignetti, Indiana head coach, says 6 teams will be operating on a $40 million NIL roster next year. I thought, no way. Name them.
I think that Kurt Cignetti likes to lie. I don't have any evidence for that. And
we've already talked about one.
Purely off of my gut, I just think that man likes to lie a little bit.
We already talked about one last week before the story dropped.
Maybe 3, and I'm thinking Texas, Ohio State, Oregon.
They're 3 of the 6.
I mean, what's the other one? USC's probably throwing a lot of money around right now. They've been doing well.
Not on his list, but maybe. Sure, it could be, but they're not one of his named. One you'll never get.
Oklahoma State? Is this the Pistols you're giving me? The Cowboys?
Texas Tech.
Guns
the
Red Raiders.
Lubbock.
Okay, yeah.
Apparently they've got
another Texas team. A&M in there?
Nope.
Shocking.
Why did I bring the story up? Who were we talking about? What team were we talking about scheduling that you brought up? Just 2 seconds ago. Their new 12.
Dame.
There you go. Notre Dame was another one.
They got it like that.
And
the U. Okay. Respect.
That's what he says. He says 6 teams are operating on a $40 million NIL roster next year. Ohio State, Oregon, Texas Tech, Notre Dame, and Miami.
I'm glad that he came out and named them. That can make me respect it a little more. I still believe that Kurt Cignetti likes to dance around the truth a little bit, maybe. Yeah, you think Miami's getting together $40 million after what Cristobal did last season?
They did fine last year, didn't they?
They lost 3 straight.
Oh
games
yeah, they
crashed
down the court down the end of the season. Yeah,
had that disastrous
they were doing
loss
fine.
to what was it, Georgia Tech? I think
yeah, that was the year prior.
Okay,
they were doing fine, but they
were doing great.
They crashed
Cam
out.
Ward hiding in the final.
It was North Carolina, wasn't it? They lost.
Maybe that's what it was.
That's
and then I think they lost the bowl game too to close the season.
Yeah,
Given
no,
that
it
one-
was Tech. You were right. You
Oh,
were
okay.
right. It was Tech. They lost to Tech, and they
Wasn't that the one where all they had to do was kneel it out or something? Or was that?
that's the year prior.
Okay,
they
that
lost
was the
2
year
years in a
okay.
row to Tech.
Golly, just disastrous. So
and they lost the bowl game. They lost Tech, Syracuse, and Iowa State.
Miami's probably got some alumni base like that. I would imagine. I'm sure.
Right, that's
I
just
don't,
a little
I just
real
don't know
estate
that
money.
I don't know that Cristobal. I don't know that they're buying what he's selling that much right now. I think he may have to prove it a little more before he can get that kind of money together.
Well, if you're paying Carson Beck $4 million, you don't care what money is.
That's fair.
Like $4 million for you, Carson
And
Beck.
you seen, and this is just not anything.
Ruben Bain, what do you think Ruben Bain's making?
I don't know.
Defensive end for him? No, that Joker is. You want to talk about somebody I don't want to see in a dark alley?
No, thank you. No, thank you. I'll pass. Oh, Carson Beck, he broke him and his lady broke up not too long ago. She's been talking some trash about
What do you think about all of that?
I mean, I hate to be the internet gossip.
It's okay by now.
That's wild. I believe everything that I heard in the video of her trash talking him, where she says no one really likes him. He doesn't have a lot of friends. I believe all of that because he certainly carries himself with the attitude and the aura of someone who does kind of act that way. At least in every press conference and thing, I've never met him personally, obviously.
Aloof.
Yes, he kind of seems that way. Maybe that he feels like he's a little bit above everyone else potentially. But wild to say that on a video, and I don't know if she knew she was even being recorded. But
I think she did.
I think she did too, and that's dirty. Whether he. I don't know. That's mean.
But
you got to kick the man while he's down.
Well, you got to think
broke
about
up.
it. You got to think about it, sister. Because I think it was sister on the video, not
Okay.
actual ex-girlfriend. They're twins. I can't tell them apart. I don't know who he's dating.
I've not looked at the Cavender twins enough to be able to differentiate one from the other.
But I think the sister is trashing Carson because the story goes Carson cheats on sister. So tit for tat.
Right,
He's a bad
At
guy
the end of the day,
anyways.
these are all people that are younger than us.
Yeah, who cares? I hope they're all, don't cheat on your girlfriends, guys.
They're all still going to continue to be much more wealthy than I will ever be. So I think they'll all be just fine.
Apparently Texas Tech spent like $5 million bucks in the portal on like everybody. It's like, hey, come here, get $5 million.
That's a unique strategy. We'll
that's an
bold strategy.
That's hyperbole by my end, by the way. Just
sure
to make that clear. But they did spend a boatload.
I mean, if you're up as one of these teams, I imagine you were just throwing money at people kind of left and right, willy nilly as you saw fit. Like I said,
the Matador Club.
It's a very interesting strategy. Oh, I like that though. That's pretty good.
How Texas Tech built a portal class. Notre Dame tried to poach its GM. This is an ESPN story of February 11th. From
How do
Max
we get into
Olson.
the Matador Club?
Pay a lot of money. The Matador NIL Club, initially anticipated for the Red Raiders transfer portal. That's still considered. In November, Joey McGuire told reporters bringing in approximately 10 transfers next season. General manager James Blanchard spent months preparing for the portal season. Yeah,
I mean, 10 transfers that lines up right about $4 million a pop, $4 million, $5 million a pop if they're in that 40-50 range.
They brought in 17 transfers.
So everybody's what,
seven
2.5.
7 of the top 75 players in the ESPN's transfer portal rankings, enough for the number 2 transfer portal class. The total cost of the splurge, more than $10 million. This is according to the ESPN article. So then you add $10 million to whatever they're already paying the roster and whatever you're paying the freshmen. I think that's how you get up to the 30s to the 40s here. It's crazy. Like,
what is there to do in Lubbock, Texas?
Play football.
I mean, that's got to be it, isn't there?
Play football and watch Patrick Mahomes highlights.
Yeah, I guess so.
Watch Patrick Mahomes highlights and listen to old Tommy Tuberville stories and old Mike Leach stories.
Birthplace of Buddy Holly. Fun fact. Just looked up. Lubbock,
that's a country
Texas.
music singer, right?
Rock and roll legend.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think, back when he was playing music, a lot of things sounded alike.
Yeah. So Texas, those other 5, that makes sense. Notre Dame, Ohio State. I'm going to be very curious to see what Texas Tech does this year. They're going to be on my radar just because of the money.
It would be fun to see them be very good.
Or very bad.
Either way.
What would you rather?
I guess for the long-term health of the sport rather than be terrible and crash and burn. But as you know, if you're a casual fan who doesn't necessarily follow the inner workings of NIL and is not privy to, they spent all this money to get, it would be awesome if Texas Tech went on a run. I've always thought Texas Tech was sweet. The whole guns up, the red, it's just awesome. The whole vibe about it. It probably goes back to me watching Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield dueling in that one game where they combined for 1,500 passing yards or whatever it was.
Well, to me, I just like the concept of go back to last week's conversation. We're not a blue blood. We can buy our way in here, baby. We don't care.
Texas Tech is like little brother in the state of Texas.
Well, because this is what's going to actually cause shame. Nobody cares if Ohio State and Michigan are outbidding themselves because it's the powers that be. We're used to it. Michigan should win the national championship. Ohio State should win. When Texas Tech wins the national championship, your Georgias, your Alabamas, your all those 7 blue bloods that we cried about. Texas, you too. Is Texas, especially you. No. We can't have this.
Why do you think they took SMU down? SMU got too big for their britches. Started outbidding everybody in whatever year it was. Gave them the death sentence.
Ooh, so maybe that
just now for them to get back.
Maybe that's our anarchist position of the season. Go Texas Tech, ruin all of college football by
blow it all up.
Right. Phil Knight would lose his mind. Phil Knight, we've been spending all this money for all these years, and I can't get my national championship.
He's gonna die of an aneurysm because they can't get a title. It's gonna be Phil Knight died in his home.
You think he had a hard day?
His Oregon hat while the Ducks failed to win a national title.
You think he got on the phone with Dan Lanning yesterday after Jared Curtis? After Jared Curtis said Georgia Bulldogs, put that Georgia hat on.
Oh, I know. Dan Lanning looked over at his phone. He said,
I don't want to take this call.
He let it ring a couple times.
I don't want to take this call.
How you doing, Phil?
I paid you. I gave you $15 million. I gave you. You told me you needed 10, and I gave you 15 for this job, and that wasn't enough. I don't know what the number is. I'm assuming it was good.
I would imagine it was a lot. I bet he was sick. I mean, that phone call.
You couldn't get that joker. Look at all the pretty Oregon women we got. You couldn't get. Look at all this Nike gear.
Send him another duffel bag. Care package to his house. Man, oh man. If
Get
I was
your social media team to put another video together about Autzen Stadium.
Man, if I was a recruit, that would get me so quick. The first box that showed up from Oregon, I'm committing right now, buddy. I'll be there. The gear that they send those kids is so much cooler than anyone else, and they send them so much of it. You see it. I see it on my TikTok feed every now and then. I'll get a video that pops up and it's unboxing what Oregon sent me, and it's just the coolest stuff you've ever seen in your life. So much cooler than anyone else.
Ducks fly together.
Yeah,
except for Jared Curtis yesterday.
Gonna be a Bulldog. Wanted to play some real football.
Mates, we got a great comment on our YouTube section. We will address it tomorrow. You guys can address us in the comment section. This was from James 90. So he got a big old bunch of questions, a lot of football questions that we will get to tomorrow because we really spent most of our time today taking Dax's call, talking about trap games and the schedule. I think we had a pretty. I'm hitting in today feeling pretty decent. So hopefully you guys are as well. You can leave me a comment, leave Mason a comment at @MAWoods_, at Joe Gaither 6, at BamaCentral, voicemail at 205-462-7340, extension 800. We love Derek Daniel and the State Farm Studios. So appreciative of him hosting us each and every day. Probably going to work a video package in for him in the next day or so. So that's great. Exciting for that. Big thanks to Warren Tire and Auto for sponsoring the program. Big thanks to you, especially the listener. It wouldn't be anything without you, the listener, the viewer, watching us on the BamaCentral YouTube channel, listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Ooh, Texas preview tomorrow on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com.